July 21st, 1969. A human footprint pressed into lunar dust. One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. But Neil Armstrong wasn't the first. Centuries before him, a 21-year-old from Morocco walked 75,000 miles across 3 continents. Marco Polo spent 24 years in the court of Kublai Khan, when most Europeans had never left their villages. Christopher Columbus sailed into the unknown, convinced he'd found India when he'd actually discovered an entire continent. Edmund Hillary conquered the death zone of Everest, where the air is too thin to breathe. These aren't just stories. These are the people who redrew the map of human possibility. From the Silk Road to the surface of the moon, from the depths of the ocean to the peaks of the 7 summits. This is the story of explorers who risked everything to discover what lay beyond. Buckle up, because today we're following in the footsteps of the brave. Throughout history, people have always wondered what was beyond the next mountain, how people in other countries lived, what it's like on the moon. But why? Why would anyone risk their life to explore the unknown? There are 5 main reasons. First, trade. Rulers supported explorers hoping they'd find new trade routes and goods. Vasco da Gama and Christopher Columbus were searching for spices and riches. Second, gold. The conquistadors hunted for treasure when they conquered the Americas. Third, science. Many explorers are scientists hoping to discover new species or unlock nature's secrets. Fourth, land. Countries like Spain, Portugal, and Great Britain built massive empires by claiming discovered territories. And fifth, challenge. Some explorers simply want to test their limits and be the first in the world to achieve something impossible. The first to reach the poles, the first to summit Everest, the first to walk on the moon. The Age of Exploration, also called the Age of Discovery, took place between the 15th and 17th centuries. During this time, European countries sent explorers to discover new lands, find trade routes, seek treasure, and gain territory. Much of the world was mapped during this era, and civilizations that had never met came face to face. It changed the course of human history forever. Muhammad ibn Abdullah ibn Battuta, born in Tangier, Morocco in 1304, died around 1377. Best known for traveling across all continents over 25 years, Ibn Battuta is considered one of the greatest travelers in history. In 1325, at age 21, he set off for Hajj to Mecca. He traveled overland, following the North African coast through Algiers and Tunis. In 1326, he reached Egypt, then Syria, where he joined a caravan to Medina. After visiting the holy town, he went to Mecca and performed Hajj. But Ibn Battuta wanted more than just pilgrimage. He wanted to explore, learn, write, and teach. From Mecca, he embarked on a 25-year journey that covered most of the known Muslim world and many non-Muslim lands. His travels included Eastern Europe, the Middle East, South Asia, Central Asia, Southeast Asia, and China. He visited Delhi when Muhammad Tughlaq ruled India. Since Ibn Battuta was a jurist of Islamic fiqh, the king appointed him as a qadi, a judge. Ibn Battuta traveled more than 75,000 miles across the world, documenting cultures, cities, and civilizations. His accounts remain invaluable historical records. New World. Vasco da Gama, born in 1460 in Sines, Portugal, died December 23, 1524 in Kochi, India. Best known as the first European to sail from Europe to India around Africa. Vasco da Gama was born in a coastal Portuguese town. His father was a knight and explorer, and Vasco followed in his footsteps, commanding ships for the king. Spices from India were highly valuable in Europe, but the only route was overland, long and expensive. The King of Portugal wanted a sea route to India to trade spices and become wealthy. An explorer named Bartholomew Dias had discovered the Cape of Good Hope at Africa's southern tip. Some believed there might be a route around it to India, but many doubted the Indian Ocean connected to the Atlantic. Vasco da Gama was given a fleet and told to find a trade route around Africa to India. He left Lisbon on July 8, 1497, with 170 men and 4 ships. The expedition rounded the Cape of Good Hope on November 22nd and headed north along Africa's coast, stopping at trading ports like Mombasa and Malindi. At Malindi, they met a local navigator who knew the way to India. With monsoon winds, they crossed the Indian Ocean and reached Calicut, India, in less than a month. The return voyage was disastrous. Around half of Vasco da Gama's crew died from scurvy. But when he returned home, he was welcomed as a hero for finding the vital trade route to India. Vasco commanded 2 more fleets to India. The second was a military expedition to show Portuguese naval power. On his 3rd voyage, he was to become viceroy of Portuguese India, but he died of malaria shortly after arriving.
Sir Edmund Hillary, born July 20th, 1919, in Auckland, New Zealand. Died January 11th, 2008. Best known as the first to climb Mount Everest. Together with Sherpa Tenzing Norgay, Edmund Hillary reached the summit of the world's highest mountain. Hillary became interested in climbing at age 16 and climbed his first major mountain at 20. He continued exploring and scaling peaks for years. In 1953, The British received approval to attempt Mount Everest. Nepal only allowed one expedition per year, so this was a major opportunity. Expedition leader John Hunt asked Hillary to join. Climbing Everest requires a massive team. Over 400 people were part of the expedition. They climbed in stages, moving to higher camps every few weeks and acclimating to the altitude. At each stage, fewer climbers continued. At the final camp, 2 teams were chosen for the summit attempt: Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay, and Tom Bourdillon and Charles Evans. Bourdillon and Evans tried first, but failed, turning back just 300 feet from the top. On May 28, 1953, Hillary and Tenzing got their chance. They faced difficulties, including a 40-foot rock wall, now called Hillary Step, but they made it. They reached the summit, the top of the world. Because the air was so thin, they stayed only a few minutes before descending to share their incredible achievement. Neil Armstrong, born August 5, 1930, in Wapakoneta, Ohio. Died August 25, 2012. Best known as the first person to walk on the moon. Neil's love for flying began when his father took him to an air show. At age 15, he got his pilot's license. Armstrong studied aerospace engineering at Purdue University and later earned a master's degree at the University of Southern California. During college, the Navy called him up, and he became a fighter pilot in the Korean War, flying from aircraft carriers. After graduating, Armstrong became a test pilot, flying over 200 different experimental aircraft. It was dangerous but exhilarating. In September 1962, Armstrong was selected for the NASA Astronaut Corps after passing rigorous physical tests. On December 23, 1968, Neil was offered command of Apollo 11, the first manned moon landing mission. The United States was racing the Soviet Union to put the first person on the moon. If successful, Neil Armstrong would be that person. After months of preparation, Apollo 11 launched from Kennedy Space Center on July 16, 1969, with 3 astronauts: Neil Armstrong, Edwin Aldrin, and Michael Collins. There was one tense moment when Armstrong had to take manual control of the landing, risking fuel shortages. But the landing succeeded. Upon touchdown, Armstrong said, "Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed." Armstrong was the first to leave the craft and walk on the moon on July 21, 1969. His famous words, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." Edwin Aldrin also walked on the moon. They spent 21 hours there collecting moon rocks. Michael Collins orbited above in the command module. 600 million people watched the first moonwalk on TV. The 3 astronauts returned to Earth on July 24, 1969, as heroes. Fun fact, Neil Armstrong and Edwin Aldrin's footprints are still on the moon. There's no wind to erase them. But exploration didn't stop with the moon. In 2026, we're pushing boundaries further than ever. NASA's Artemis program is planning to return humans to the moon and establish a permanent lunar base. Private companies like SpaceX are working toward Mars missions. Deep-sea exploration has revealed alien-like creatures in ocean trenches deeper than Everest is tall. Scientists are using AI and robotics to explore places humans can't reach, from inside active volcanoes to beneath Antarctic ice sheets. Climate researchers are exploring the changing polar regions, documenting how our planet is transforming. Tech pioneers are exploring virtual worlds and the frontiers of artificial intelligence. The spirit of exploration lives on. From the Silk Road to the stars, from ocean depths to mountain peaks, humans continue to ask, what's out there? What's possible? What's next? In this journey, we've followed the footsteps of history's greatest explorers. Marco Polo, who brought the wonders of China to Europe. Ibn Battuta, who traveled 75,000 miles across the known world. Christopher Columbus, who discovered a new world. Vasco da Gama, who opened the sea route to India. Edmund Hillary, who conquered Everest, Neil Armstrong, who walked on the moon. These explorers risked everything for discovery. They faced death, disease, starvation, and the unknown. But they kept going. Why? Because exploration is in our DNA. It's what makes us human. The desire to see what's beyond the horizon, to push the boundaries of the possible, to discover what no one else has discovered. That's the power of exploration. From ancient trade routes to modern space missions, from the depths of the ocean to the summit of Everest, the journey never ends. But here's the question: what will you explore? What boundaries will you push? Drop a comment and tell us which explorer inspired you the most. Hit that like button if this video sparked your sense of adventure. And subscribe to Moral Vision AI for more incredible stories of human achievement and discovery. The next great explorer could be you. See you in the next video. Stay curious, stay brave.